What's going on YouTube? It's Wrath here, hanging out today, playing some Monster Legends. I want to thank you guys so much for coming out with me today. If you liked the video, don't forget to smash that thumbs up button and show your support. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe as well. Alright guys, so today, I'm not gonna lie, I had no idea what kind of video I was gonna make for you peoples. I was like, I don't know what to do. But I went, and I thought, and I brained, and I came up with an idea. So we're gonna get into that after we gather up all this hot, delicious loot. It's gonna be great. And then we'll jump into what today's video is going to be about. So let's gather all this up really quick and then we'll go and talk. Alright, so that's it. Anyways, I'm going to do some egg hatching really fast, then we'll get into that stuff too. So, let's do it. Thunder Eagle baby. Like the 17 millionth one I've bred. Get that going. Light Spirit, just going to go ahead and sell you immediately because I hate your whole life. What in the butt? Rabidex. Didn't see that coming. Alright, so we're going to try that again. That's our Worker Hulk in progress breed, just because I want one. We'll see if we get it, 21 hours. That's not it. No big deal. Get that Thunder Eagle breeding back up. Alright guys, so today, I'm going to... Well, first off, we're going to run some attacks in the background, like war attacks, dungeon attacks, something like that, just so you guys have something to look at. But we're going to tackle a question I get pretty decently often in the comments. It's about, like, newer players wondering, what's the best breedable legendaries, you know, how to build their best team, stuff like that. So we're going to tackle that in today's episode, and we're going to lay it out flat for you. Alright, so I'm going to jump in, start doing some battles, and then we'll start the conversation. Alright guys, so the first thing we're going to have to tackle before we jump into any of the other stuff is how to build a balanced team. Now, you see a lot of people who don't do this, and it really hurts how well you can do, like in PvP and in dungeons and stuff. It's important to have a balanced team. And what I mean by that is, with 3 different monsters, you want each of those to do a different role. So, one monster in your team needs to be your denial monster. This monster does all stun, all freeze, possession, stuff like that. It keeps the enemy team from attacking you. That's what you want. That's one job for one of your monsters. This monster, your denial monster, needs to be fast. So generally, 3 speed runes or 2 speed runes, 1 team speed rune. You don't really need damage on your denial monster because you want them to be fast. If your denial monster goes after the enemy team, it's already failed at its job. So that's step 1. The second monster is going to be your support monster. This is the monster that does pretty much only buffs for your team, maybe some debuffs the enemy team, but its main job is to keep your team like topped off in health, stamina, damage boosts, things like that. That's going to be your support. Now the support monster also needs to be pretty fast, so either 3 speed runes or 2 speed runes, 1 team speed rune. The support monster should never have damage runes, health runes, stamina runes, ever. Because it doesn't need them. It only needs to be fast so it can buff your team quicker. That's all it needs to be doing. Alright, the third slot is going to be your main damage dealer. Now, your denial monster will do some damage. It'll have some damaging skills, but the majority, the bulk of your damage is going to come from your damage dealing monster. This is going to be your guy you send out to, you know, one-shot people, flatten people out. That's what their idea is. Now, this monster doesn't necessarily need to be super fast, but it doesn't hurt to have at least 1 speed rune on them. I would say either 3 strength or 2 strength and 1 speed. You don't really need team runes at all on your damage dealer because it doesn't really help you much to have it. You mainly want, you know, damage. Some people say we'll run 2 speeds and a strength, and in some cases that works. But in my opinion, you're sacrificing too much damage on your damage-dealing monster. That's his only job, is to deal damage, so you want to make sure he's doing a lot of it. Alright, now with that, those basics laid out, now we're going to get into the breedable legendary monsters that fill those positions. Now, before I get started, if you do not know how to breed all the breedable legendary monsters, I do have a video already up about every breedable legendary monster in the game. That will be in the link. Well, nope, that'll be in the description. There'll be a link down there. So check that out first so you know what you're looking at, and then come back and finish watching this. Okay, so we're going to start with the damage dealers and work backwards. So damage dealing monsters. There are 2 very viable options, maybe 3 if you really want to get into it, 4 maybe. But I would say right out the gate, Dark Skull. Dark Skull is probably the best. The other one's going to be Arch Knight, maybe Ultra Bot, these other ones, but they require a special epic to breed them, so you probably won't have that epic early on in the game. So Dark Skull is going to be your best bet early on. The reason Dark Skull's so good is, one, he has very high damaging skills. He also can heal himself with Drain Life, and his ultimate also heals himself, so that's good. You want that in your damage dealer. Good damage, and if he can heal himself a little bit too, also good. He's also very easy to breed. You can get his epics pretty much the first few weeks of the game you're playing, if not earlier than that. So you can be breeding a Dark Skull up very, very early. He's a very good damage dealer. You want that. So Arch Knight's also good. A lot of high damaging skills, a lot of really high damaging skills, but like I said, takes a special epic to breed him, so he may not be one you shoot for first. But, that's how things go. Anyways, moving on. We got support monsters. Now, there's a couple decent support monsters that you can breed, but I would say the best one, hands down, is going to be Goldfield. He's not just good because he's a great support monster. He can help you get through survival dungeons, like no problem at all, because he has like no cooldowns on any of his skills. So he can heal your team, give stamina regeneration, double damage every turn. He doesn't have to, wait for skills to come back around. They're always available. So great support, pure support. That's why I have him as number 1. He's like a pure support monster. Now, Lord of the Atlantis is your second option. He's kind of a hybrid. He's kind of like a mixed damage and support. So he does both okay, but he doesn't do one really well. It's kind of like a, you get both, but you get half as good of both. So he's not a bad one either, but I would recommend Goldfield because he's just pure support, really good at it. This is going to help you a lot with survival dungeons. Like, early on in the game, I think those are probably the hardest ones, because your monsters are always dying or they're out of stamina, and you get smoked on. Goldfield makes that not even a problem, because the life regeneration, stamina regeneration, it's amazing. You're going to want one. Anyways, moving on. Now, denial monsters is where things get iffy on the breedable side, because the breedable monsters don't really have a good denial monster. Your two best, I guess, kind of denial monsters are going to be Rockantium and Worker Hulk. Now, Rockantium is going to be your number 1 choice because, one, he's easier to breed. His monsters, you can breed them right out the gate. Worker Hulk does require a special epic. Now, also, Rockantium, I think, is better than Worker Hulk because Rockantium is mildly faster. Now, he's still slow. He's still slow as absolute balls, but he's faster than Worker Hulk, who is slower than the slowest balls. That guy is way slow. But the bad thing about these monsters, they don't have an all-stun. They have single target stuns, except for their ultimate. Their ultimate is the all-stun. So, they're alright. I recommend Rockantium over Worker Hulk, not just because of the, easier to breed, but he does have a good shield skill, so he can kind of help buff you guys a little bit there. And all that. So, he's not bad, but in this case, you may be better off going with an epic. And that's like, well, what are you talking about? Dragonian Beast is an epic. He's actually a little bit slower than Rockantium, a little bit faster than Worker Hulk, I believe, but he has an all-stun, which is important. A denier needs to be able to stun everybody. And since he's still pretty slow, probably not the best bet. So, as a new player, someone just getting started, your best bet in the game, in my opinion, is to save your gems up, and the first legendary monster you buy needs to be your denial monster, because that's the one position you won't be able to fill with breedable legendaries. So, I mean, there's tons of good ones out there. I mean, you can use war coins to get General Thades, Nishant's Pet, both very good deniers. You can use gems to buy a Varuna, Cavenfish, Tempest. There's a lot of monsters out there with good denying skills, with decent speed. So that's where I would recommend you spend your gems first, is get the denial monster bought, because you can't really fill that well with breedables. But other than that, that's pretty much everything about your first solid team you want to build. And now from there, obviously you can change things as much as you want. The new support monsters you get, like Demise, Incognita, they can change the way you play, and that's what's cool, is there's not really one best monster for everything, because depending on how you play, you can make different monsters work good in different positions. So, this is a very, very solid starting point. This is where you should definitely be starting, getting your base laid, and it's going to help you get through all your dungeons, get your gems, your runes, and stuff like that faster, so that you can, develop as a quicker player. So that's pretty much everything you need to know about early game. Alright guys, well I think that's going to be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for future videos, don't forget to leave those in the down there and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you liked the video, please make sure you smash that thumbs up button to show your support, and I will see you guys next time.